Good morning, Julie. The state's case against Hannah Gutierrez will resume shortly here this morning in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yesterday, we heard compelling testimony from a crew member from the movie set of Rust, talking about frightening moments involving those accidental discharges.
Certainly made a loud noise that spooked us and the animals we had on set. I think we had a couple of horses on set, and again, it was unannounced, so it was a surprise to everybody that was around.
The Dolly grip operator testified that the first accidental discharge on the movie set of Rust happened when prop master Sarah Zachary was handling the gun and shot herself in the foot.
In your previous experiences on other movie sets with armorers, did you ever see the prop master loading and unloading the guns?
I've never seen that, no.
1 hour later, another accidental discharge, this time when defendant Hannah Gutierrez was handling the gun.
Hannah was prepping the stunt double in the cabin with that firearm, and again, unannounced to any of us outside the cabin, that firearm was discharged.
After these discharges, while Alec Baldwin was shooting a scene with the revolver, cinematographer Hannah Hutchins is killed. The firearms expert on the stand said that the gun would not have gone off unless someone had pulled the trigger. And Julie, the crew member on the stand, said that when he expressed safety concerns, he was ignored. That's the latest from here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We'll send it back to you.
All right, our thanks to Kelly Craft for that early update. Now, in addition to the testimony surrounding set safety, we also heard a lot about Hannah Gutierrez's professionalism, or should I say lack thereof, as her former co-worker took the stand, describing the indifference and how she acted and worked on set compared to other armorers that he's worked with in the past.
In my experience, the armors are usually the well, for lack of a better description, the most uptight and anal retentive people on set, because they literally have people's lives in their hands.
Did you notice a difference then generally in terms of just the behavior, the general behavior on the movie set of the other armorers you worked with as compared to Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
What was that?
She wasn't necessarily as serious or professional as I'm accustomed to with the other armorers that I've worked with.
Said it yesterday, I'll say it again. How did she get that job? Let's talk about it with our guest, retired DEA Supervisory Special Agent Michael T. Wilhite Sr. is with us, and criminal defense attorney and former elected district attorney Matthew Mangino with us as well. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Oh boy, let's get your thoughts on this woman having this job dealing with weapons. Michael Wilhite, would you start us off, please?
Well, Julie, thanks for having me. Part of MTW Consulting LLC is conducting firearms training for the general public, gun and safety handling, and of course, an experience dealing with firearms with being law enforcement, state and federal. Her professional demeanor just is not there. Period. It started with her interview, speaking to the officer while she was in the vehicle. I've looked at some of the some of the segments had regarding this case. She's sitting at the table, playing with a pen, or whatever she's doing, playing with a pen while doing the testimony. It's just sad. Her professional, like I said, her professional maturity just isn't there. And it'd be interesting to know, and I don't know if this has happened. The person that trained her, I think that it's been put out that she was trained by someone that's supposed to be renowned in the field there, in this profession. It'd be curious to see how did he train her? What did he tell her regarding her professional demeanor, her demeanor on the set, around the weapons? It's just sad.
That's right, Michael. And you know, I think you're referring to, so her father, Hannah Gutierrez's father, is a very well-known and well-respected armorer in the film industry. And so presumably she probably learned the most from him, right? But, you know, she is not him, as we know, a lot younger, a lot more inexperienced. And here, as this case progresses, Matthew Mangino, I'm seeing with every day more and more clarity as to the foundation for the criminal charging. You know, initially we were getting things in dribbles, as you remember, little bits of information were coming out. Now, I can see why prosecutors went in this direction. Tell me, as a former DA running an office, can you see why this office in New Mexico made the decision they did to criminally charge her?
Well, yes, you can see it, Julie, and certainly this testimony that we've just heard over the last day is indicative of just complete chaos and unprofessionalism, maybe even to the point of, you know, carelessness and recklessness, because here you have someone who is hired to manage the firearms and the weapons and armor, or someone who's supposed to have experience running a set in which there's guns going to be used. And you see this picture of complete chaos and just carelessness. You know, obviously, we know that there's something seriously wrong with the set that has live ammunition on set. I mean, why in the world? Someone has to answer that question for me. Why in the world would you have live ammunition on the set? And then, you know, we hear about the armorer not even being present when people are handling weapons, which, as we've heard from witnesses, is just a no-no. It's certainly outside of the process, the procedure, the protocol for handling weapons on a set.
Isn't that the truth? Preach, Matthew, preach. Michael Wilhite, let me go to you with some of these things Matthew was just mentioning. Let's start with the live rounds on the movie set. As a firearms instructor, that has to horrify you, probably much more than even the average person.
It does. It does. I guess the statements were made that apparently the equipment, the guns and the ammunition arrived there on the same prior to her getting there. But once she gets there, I'm curious, did she do an inventory? Obviously not. Didn't do an inventory of what she had there. If she'd done an inventory, I'm pretty sure she would have found that there was live rounds in her inventory there. As an instructor, I teach my students, when you go buy, first of all, I tell them what live ammunition looks like. And I also include in the course that when you go buy ammunition, when you go to these stores, these gun stores and buy ammunition, I even open the box up and make sure that if I have a 9mm caliber gun, that I actually have 9mm rounds in that box. And also, just like anything else, you inspect those rounds, making sure that those rounds are not damaged. They're man-made, they're manufactured. Make sure there's no damage, no dings, no indentation in those rounds. Making sure that the primer, the little white spot that you see on your audience can see in the picture there, making sure there's no damage to that. And again, making sure that my instructors, my students, and my fellow instructors, make sure we know what the term downrange means. For your audience, making sure that they know that downrange is defined by pointing the gun in a safe area to where you can do no harm to individual or property that's not intended. Making sure that the utmost general safety rule is adhered to. Making sure that, if nothing else, you assume that that gun is always loaded, and do not put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot it. I also go through drawing aspects. Alec Baldwin.
Oh yeah, please continue, Michael, if you can still hear us. You said do you teach cross-drawing or the proper way to draw a weapon? What's the most safe and efficient way to do it?
The most safe and efficient way, from my experience, is not cross-draw. You have a lot of police agencies that do not allow for their officers to carry shoulder holsters. Those are holsters that fits up under your armpit. Because of incidents that has happened using that holster. I'll be interested to know who taught Alec Baldwin how to do a cross draw. And if he says he's never, in his testimony, he said he's never put his finger on the trigger, who taught him that? And again, she wasn't there to ensure that he did the draw properly without putting your finger on the trigger.
Isn't that the truth? This is so stunning. I remember thinking, how in the world could someone be fatally shot on a movie set? And now, seeing this evidence, it makes sense. Sadly, it makes sense.